The next subject we're going to talk about here, you guys, as we move through these cards and understanding specific aspects. We'll talk about, specific cards in a minute, but right now we're just talking about energetic aspects, overarching themes. What do these things mean when they show up? The aces in multidimensional tarot have a very special role. Aces, and this is important, okay, so listen up, guys. The aces in multidimensional tarot represent an opportunistic point in your personal timeline, karmic cycle, or path of development in which you are being offered a chance to completely shift or elevate your experience by consciously making a bold new approach to whatever your situation is. That's a big can of worms, and that's a big statement. I'm going to read it again. The aces in multidimensional tarot represent an opportunistic point in your personal timeline, karmic cycle, or path of development. When these guys show up, it's a big deal. They're a big deal in traditional tarot as well, but what the aces represent is the pinnacle of a potential within the spectrum of energy demonstrated in the suit. They offer us the ability to shift our timeline energy by making strategic choices in whatever our situation may be. When these guys show up, you literally have an opportunity to shift the entire experience. By doing so, we unlock the potential of the aces and break the cycle, thereby releasing ourselves from the old process and bringing in the manifestation power of a new timeline choice. And so what this means is that when the aces show up in this overarching place, and they always will, they'll show up in these weird positions and you'll be like, whoa, what? So what that tells you is you're being presented with an energetic opportunity. And so what that will mean on a very specific level when we encounter the energy of an ace, and I'll go with, say, the Ace of Swords as a good example. Find the Ace of Swords in your deck, you guys. It's usually going to be this big giant sword with a hand, or, whatever the, individual images for you. The Ace of Swords represents a very important karmic opportunity, or a very important opportunistic point in our karmic cycle with respect to whatever the suit is. And so when we talk about what the suits are, we covered this earlier, I'll repeat it again. Swords in tarot correspond with how we communicate, intellectual energy, mental energy, the movement of that energy, how it's received, how it's sent. So when the Ace of Swords shows up in a multidimensional reading, it's literally telling you you have the opportunity to completely shift the nature of this experience by making a bold choice. That bold choice can be anything from, maybe something you didn't do last time, because the aces always talk about cycles. If you receive the ace, you've been here before in some form or another. It's a repeating cycle in whatever this suit represents. So when it shows up, you need to make a bold choice. You need to do something different this time. Oftentimes for us, that could be, the one thing we didn't do last time, or maybe that thing I swore I'd never do. Whatever it is, the swords pertain to communication. So when the Ace of Swords shows up in your reading, it's telling you you have an opportunity to shift your experience in this energy center, meridian, or situation in your life by consciously taking a new move with respect to how you communicate, how you speak, the message that you're sending in that situation, and the specific tone. When we're trying to understand the suit of swords and we're talking about communication, especially with the aces, it's not what you're saying, it's the way that you're saying it. So when the Ace of Swords shows up, it's all about breaking the cycle of communication and doing something different. Just like it is with the Ace of Cups. This has a very particular indication of something to do with self-identity. That version of us that we are currently holding within that energetic container within us. Look at the Ace of Cups, you guys. Find the Ace of Cups in your deck. Look at what that usually is. It's a gigantic cup with a huge heart in it, or something along those lines. Usually the cup is flowing over. And so when the Ace of Cups shows up in a multidimensional tarot reading, this is an opportunistic point in your personal cycles as they pertain to self-identity, relationship, emotion, what you carry within you, that specific frequency of emotional energy that's moving through the body. And when the Ace of Cups shows up, it's telling you that if you're willing to take a bold new move, deal with a strand of energy or emotion within you, begin to redefine yourself and carry a different frequency within the heart chakra or in any area of your body that transmits emotional energy. The heart, or rather, the Ace of Cups gives you an opportunity to shift your experience in that area by doing something different. Once again, they ask us to take a different move. This is how you create timelines, how you understand timeline indicators in multidimensional tarot. It's the same thing with the Ace of Pentacles. Like we mentioned earlier, the Pentacles talk about physicality, or rather, they talk about the currency of our desire. When the Ace of Pentacles shows up in a situation, something like a relationship we're trying to manifest, a job we're trying to manifest, whatever it is, the Ace of Pentacles tells you that not only is it possible, but that you're in an opportunistic point where if you do something differently with respect to how you receive, how you manifest energy, how you obtain things, how you create events in your life, then it offers you the opportunity to totally shift that experience. These are the guys that show up to tell us we can go into the next stage. It's more than just a blockage when you get the aces. It's more than just, a simple situation. It's going to be a greater indicator, an indicator of greater opportunity. Just like with that Ace of Swords right there. Look at that thing. It does look rather phallic. We talked about these before. Passion, creation, sexuality, sensuality, physical movement. The wands in tarot are what we do with our hands. They're also our jobs, our careers, the physical movement. And the Ace of Wands shows up, especially when we're using either traditional tarot or multidimensional tarot to understand our physical path of movement in the world. The Ace of Wands will show up in your reading to tell you, once again, you have an opportunistic point in your cycle that pertains to the energy of wands, which is physicality, movements, the way things play out, decisions we make, and the direct physical impact. So when the Ace of Wands shows up, it's literally telling you, take a different action. Do the one thing you didn't do last time. Play the game differently. By doing so, you unlock the next stage of experience in this chapter, this process, even this aspect of energy within your body. Log those aces. Look at them. Notice the differences. Look at the cards that you have. These guys are opportunistic points in your personal cycles. Allow this to seed into your consciousness. When these guys show up, it's time to do something differently. It's a potential. It's an opportunity. But it's not a guarantee. The aces guarantee nothing. Very important piece of information. If you're taking notes, you might want to remember this. The aces are an indicator of potential, but they are never a guarantee. In a very strange roundabout way, one of the ways I like to describe the energy of an ace, if you've done readings with me, is the aces show up to say, hey, look, man, the thing you've always wanted is in the next room. And you're like, oh my God, it is. And so you go and you're about to open the door. And the aces say, no, you can't open the door. You have to find a whole new way to get in there. Every time you do this, you open the door. And as soon as you open the door, you screw everything up. So in a metaphorical way, the ace says the thing you desire is directly within your reach, but it's not a guarantee. You have to find a new way, a new plan, a new route. Whatever it is, the aces tell us it's time to do something different. That's how you unlock potential. That's one of the ways in which you can understand timeline movement, viability, and creation in multidimensional tarot.